The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire Hannah to my Montana, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Kind of grossed out, honestly.
It's an interesting place to start, certainly justifiable.
We have been listening to, and we will be talking about, Red Hot Chili Peppers' 6th studio album, One Hot Minute, released September 12th, 1995.
It is their 6th studio album.
I would have thought like 3rd.
Yeah, I would have had it at number 3 as well. Tim, before we go any further, I gotta ask, do you hate this album?
No, I don't think so. I didn't like this, but for once, I think there are actually some genuinely good moments on this album, but there is just a ton of garbage, so I think I could probably be talked into hate. What about you?
No, sir, I don't like it. I hate this album. I hate it.
All right.
I hate it. It's not good. Before we get into this album, gotta ask Tim, is this the first time your Red Hot has been chilied?
Absolutely not. This was my first Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Soon afterward, I got the best of that came out, I think, in 94. I'm not sure, honestly, why the government of Saudi Arabia allowed this album for sale. It doesn't seem to match up to their standards, but...
Does not promote their values.
Absolutely not. I do remember listening to this record a fair amount, and at the beginning of the week, I would have said that I knew every song on this album, but I definitely listened to this pretty selectively because there are a number of songs on here that I swear I've heard for the first time. This album was suggested by Andrew White, and Red Hot Chili Peppers as a band was demanded by Sean Delante. What about you? Have you ever had your minute one hotted?
Ugh, Tim. You could have said, had my Ketis Anthony'd or ever been flea'd, anything.
Has your Tony ever been Navarro'd?
Ugh, no. Tim, that was even worse than the first one. For an entirely different reason. Good job in finding the worst way to say anything ever. Yes, my Tony's been Navarro'd, sad to say.
You should get yourself checked, friends, because you have herpes.
You have the ABCs of hepatitis. You could have multiple types of hepatitis, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, some types of hepatitis are dependent on you having other types of hepatitis.
Well, isn't that fun? I was hoping you were going to say that sometimes they don't get along and one hepatitis kills the other hepatitis.
I think you're thinking of Rick and Morty.
No,
you shouldn't
probably
get your medical information from Rick and Morty.
Not all of it. So, Tim, yes, I enjoyed this band when I first came across Blood Sugar Sex Magik in the 3rd grade. I stole my father's copy, which is a weird thing for him to have, but as the only person in all of North America that actually used the Columbia House Record a Week Club honestly and as they intended, he had just hundreds and hundreds of albums, which I stole and promptly lost routinely. But yeah, I loved that one, and then I found this one in like 6th grade, maybe as late as 7th, and was profoundly disappointed. And so I never really got into this album. I have a couple of songs that I enjoy that I will selectively put on, but as for sitting down and listening to this album, I've done it once in the last 10 years, and that one time was good enough for me, till this week.
I love Aeroplane too.
Nope.
I actually had the opposite experience. Because this was my first Red Hot Chili Peppers album, I was pleasantly surprised whenever I got pretty much any other Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Pretty much. Yeah, so I came into this, Tim, knowing that it wasn't their best work. I was really thinking about it. I probably legitimately really do like about 15 Red Hot Chili Peppers songs.
That's probably about right.
Till this week, I would have said I'm a fan. But when you say I like about 15 of their songs, when they have as many albums as they do, that's not so great. I like the hits. I'm a bandwagon fan when it comes to the Peppers, and this week they tested me. Before we can get into the album, Tim, it is customary and necessary that we learn a little bit about this band. Take us on a journey. Take us on the history of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and how this album came to be.
And as you did a abbreviated history of these guys last week, please feel free to jump in if I miss anything. I'm sure that everyone's listening to both the prepisodes and the real episodes, but if you're not, fuck you. I'll listen to that prepisode, but also we'll give you a full history here.
Right. We don't want to alienate anybody. So first of all, fuck you. Go back and listen to it. It's funny. It's about Stretch You Out. The song is called Stretch You Out.
I learned what Stretch You Out means.
Yeah. Tim has cried for 1 minute every day in memoriam for the victims of the song Stretch You Out. It's true.
These particular peppers were formed originally in LA as Tony Flo and the Miraculously Majestic Masters of Mayhem by Sonny Bono, Godson, Tony Kiedis on vocals, Hillel Slovak on guitar, Flea on bass, and Jack Irons on drums.
Anthony Kiedis, for anybody who isn't Tim.
Tony.
Is Tony, right?
Yeah. Tony and the others met at Fairfax High School. We don't really have enough time to get into each one of these guys individually. There's a very upsetting autobiography called Scar Tissue by Tony that's mostly about his heroin addiction growing up and kind of going into the band's tenure. It's interesting, but it gets super repetitive. HBO was actually going to do a show based on it called Spider and Son. It never panned out, although there's still some talk about doing it. The gist of it is, all these guys love heroin. They were really into it as preteens. Tony started smoking pot and doing cocaine with his father at 11 to 12, got into heroin when he mistook heroin for cocaine at about 14.
Classic Pulp Fictioning.
Tony met Flea at driver's ed class and they bonded over music. The two of them had this hobby of jumping off buildings into swimming pools.
I find it funny that, given the lifestyle, the preteen heroin use and such, they met at driver's ed?
Yeah, well, everyone's got to learn to drive, Garrett. It's the one thing that all of us share.
I don't think that's true.
Agree to disagree. At 15 years old, Tony jumped off a 5-story building and missed the pool, landing on the concrete next to it, and broke his back.
I saw a guy do that at a pool just off a 2-story house, and he almost made it, Tim. He almost made it, but that left leg didn't.
Tony weirdly got good grades in high school and got accepted into UCLA, so the drug use didn't really seem to be affecting him that much early on and probably built up in his mind some sort of idea that he was some sort of superhuman that could resist the beckoning call of Lady H. The band started out as kind of an improvisational funk jazz thing, jam
Fusion
band.
nightmare.
Yeah, with Tony rapping a bunch of poems over it. An early performance got a fairly good reaction, and they were able to make a 6-song demo tape. The guitarist Hillel and drummer Jack Irons were also in another band called What Is This? And as Garrett mentioned last week, they were kind of considering Red Hot Chili Peppers to be a side project. So whenever they got a record deal for that, they left Red Hot Chili Peppers. Kind of at the same time, Red Hot Chili Peppers manager Lindy Getz got them a 7-album deal with EMI in 1983. So Tony and Flea had to recruit a new guitarist and drummer.
Yeah.
They released their first album summer of 1984, but it didn't sell very well. And then they fired their guitarist and rehired Hillel when he quit What Is This? Interestingly, the producer on that first album, Andy Gill, absolutely hated it. In his 2004 autobiography, Tony said he got a glimpse of Gill's notebook, and next to the song Police Helicopter, the producer had just written shit. So that's pretty great and probably fairly accurate for them at this time. And so it's kind of a battle to actually get the record made, but they eventually did, and again, didn't sell all that well. Somehow they got George Clinton to produce their second album, Freaky Styley, which was released in 1985. That also didn't do all that well, and the subsequent heroin-fueled tour didn't do all that well either. Also in 1985, they got $5,000 to record a demo for their third album, and they selected producer Keith Levine because he enjoyed doing drugs.
Why are they recording a demo for an album when they already have a record deal?
They haven't been selling very well, so I think they have to get like approval from the record company to actually make the album. Like they have to give them something to get approved, like you can do these songs.
Wow. What a terrible existence.
Hillel and the producer spent 40% of that money, $2,000, on heroin and cocaine for themselves. The rest of the band wasn't a big fan of that. Eventually, the current drummer was fired and they rehired Jack Irons. I don't know why you're firing the drummer and not Hillel at this point. The drummer's not spending close to half of the money on heroin and cocaine. Tony, for his part, was falling asleep in the middle of songs due to his love of heroin, and he was fired during the sessions for what became the Uplift Mofo party plan. He went to rehab and got clean in a move that will almost certainly be permanent in his life, and eventually rejoined the band to finish that album.
Yeah, probably smooth sailing from here if I had to guess.
The recording process was again difficult after he returned because he would disappear to go buy and use heroin. He started using heroin as sort of a present to himself, celebrating 50 days of sobriety from heroin.
Wait, I'm sorry. let's just go back for a second. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. So he goes to rehab.
Okay.
He comes back. He's clean for 50 days. And on the 50-day anniversary, he says, I'm doing pretty good. How can I celebrate this momentous milestone? What do I like to do? Oh, heroin.
Bennigan's?
I like heroin. And so
heroin.
he celebrated his sobriety from heroin with more heroin.
Okay. I mean, listen, it's probably a great way to celebrate a milestone.
Oh, sure.
Not that milestone.
Yeah, it's the one milestone you don't want to celebrate with heroin. All the others, 4th wedding anniversary, heroin. Graduate from college, heroin.
Make a yellow light?
Yeah, a little bit of heroin.
Little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't
because you're
do a
still
ton.
driving.
Be responsible.
Uplift Mofo Party Plan was their first album to chart. It peaked at 148. And then, to everyone's surprise, the guitarist Hillel died of a heroin overdose. Tony fled LA and skipped Hillel's funeral, presumably to use heroin. Jack Irons quit. He said that he didn't want to be in a band where everyone was clearly going to die. Flea and Tony decided to go ahead with the band. They hired Parliament Funkadelic guitarist and Dead Kennedy's drummer. And then Tony went to rehab again for what would definitely be the last time this time.
Second time's the charm. That's the saying.
The new guitarist was fired after recording a single song. After being fired, he threatened to burn down Tony's house in retribution. Then the Dead Kennedy's drummer guy introduced the rest of the band to a teen he suspiciously knew, and John Frusciante was hired.
Yikes. The old Eagles treatment. King of Hollywood.
Yeah. Once Frusciante is hired, Flea and Tony fired the drummer, and they hired Chad Smith, who looks like Will Ferrell? Is that how you say it?
Farrell. Will Ferrell.
Okay.
His name's Will Ferrell.
They record Mother's Milk and released that in 1989. It peaked at number 52 and would be their first gold and platinum album. And then they signed with Warner Brothers Records and hire Rick Rubin to produce their next album, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. Rickethy had previously refused to work with them because of their drug habits, but since they were never going to use drugs again for real this time, he said yes. So Rickles got them the mansion that Harry Houdini lived in to record the new album and also live in for some reason. Chad did not stay there because of the ghosts, and so he's an idiot. Frusciante agreed that the house was indeed haunted and said, "There are definitely ghosts in the house, but they are very friendly. We have nothing but warm vibes and happiness everywhere we go in the house." So he is also an idiot. Blood Sugar Sex Magic did very well when it was released in 1991. It won them Grammys, it got a number 2 single, and it eventually would go on to sell over 12 million copies worldwide. The new rock star status, though, didn't suit Frusciante well. He didn't like the popularity and intentionally sabotaged a bunch of live performances.
What a dick.
He also developed a fun little drug habit of his own, and then he abruptly quit the band before a Japanese show in 1992. The band tried to get Dave Navarro to join at that point, but Dave was trying to quit drugs at the time, and he knew what these guys were up to, so he did not join. And Dave Navarro, incidentally, he looks like somebody attempted to paint the face of an Egyptian god on his own face.
Tim, I have spent hours trying to figure out what's going on with that face. He looks a little like Scar from The Lion King. He's definitely rocking a mean pharaoh face because he's painting a lot. Like a lot of mascara and or eyeshadow.
I think it might be oil-based paint.
I am not going to rule out that that is straight up oil-based paint. I want to know, does he remove it? Is it always there? Does he change it throughout the day? If Dave Navarro plays a pickup game of basketball somewhere, is that a different eye look?
I don't think he ever fully removes it. I think he might add to it, but I don't think there's ever none there. It might be tattooed on.
That's what I am inclined to believe. At the very least, he's done like the edges of his eyes. Good God, you gotta really trust somebody to tattoo your eyelids.
Listeners, if any of you have access to Dave Navarro's face, please investigate and let us know.
Yeah, maybe just quickly get like a cold cream or a makeup remover and really scrub at those eyes.
Or, I mean, depending on what you find, if you've got like a little scalpel or something, you can take a sample and send it here to the Why I Hate This Album's labs, and we will analyze it and report back.
Tim, a scalpel is not necessary. A few skin cells are all we need. So if you have a tissue and you can just get a light wipe,
we will run a DNA sample and we will find out if he is part cartoon lion.
Cartoon lion or real lion, Tim? He sort of looks like Jason Momoa in Game of Thrones, mixed with a lion.
That's not inaccurate.
He's got Jafar facial hair.
Yes.
Remember Aladdin's Jafar? He's the bad guy.
He kind of just looks like Jafar.
Missed opportunity with the new live adaptation of Aladdin, which everyone's saying is terrible. Could have starred Dave Navarro, and you know what? I'm not going to go see it. But you put Dave Navarro in there as Jafar, guess what? 2 please.
He might be in there, though. We don't know. We have not done this research.
That's true. And the staff here is untrustworthy at best. Boy, Tim, I have a staff update, but I'm just not ready to get into it yet.
All right. Eventually, Dave Navarro does in fact join these Peppers. Navarro said he does not like funk music or jamming, so it is unclear why he bothered to join.
Money.
Around the same time, Tony has a dental procedure that requires Valium, and that kind of made him remember, hey, I love drugs. And he promptly started doing heroin in secret.
Secret heroin, Tim. You know what? I'm not telling anybody on this podcast to do heroin. It's wrecked countless lives. But I'll guarantee you the only thing better than heroin? Secret heroin. The Red Hot Chili Peppers is Dave Navarro's rebound.
Yeah.
He's trying to make Perry Farrell jealous. And so he's just going around town with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, trying to make Jane's Addiction realize what they've lost. You know, the rebound never works out, right?
Oh, of course not.
We should have seen this coming a mile away.
Well, this is the one you don't want to work out, right? If your friend breaks up with her significant other and then starts dating Dave Navarro.
Yeah, it better not work out.
Yeah, because I'm
I don't want to be spending my Christmas with Dave Navarro.
That's right. Does he even celebrate Christmas? Who knows?
I bet he does, but he gives you like a jar of pickled eggs. And it's not a gag either.
No,
He's like, they're great.
You just wake up and he's tattooing your eyelids. I want you to look like me, like a lion.
Great. I feel like he uses the word brother a lot. You're going to look great, brother.
Probably. They began working on their next album, the album of the week, One Hot Minute, which again would be released in 1995.
Follow up to the massive Blood Sugar Sex Magic. That's important contextually. Continue.
Right. Tony really doesn't work very well with Dave, so he and Flea started taking sexy vacations together where they wrote many of the songs on this album. In this album, Flea took a big role in the songwriting. Since Tony was absent to use heroin, he wrote several of the songs and sang on some of them. This, it turns out, was a mistake.
I might argue the opposite.
Dave also starts using drugs again. He would leave the band after this or possibly get kicked out. Unclear. Around this same time, Fusciante almost dies of a heroin addiction that left him broke, so Flea was able to get him into rehab and then convince him to rejoin the band. After getting surgery to fix his nose and remove his teeth due to some sort of drug-related oral infection, they get back together and record some music. In 1999, they released Californication to great success, although Robert Christgau would dismiss the album by simply calling them New Age Fuck Fiends.
I don't know what that could possibly mean.
They do a huge tour to support Californication, including Woodstock 99, where they play a cover of Jimi Hendrix's Fire. During the performance, the festival catches fire and riot control units were brought in. So they played Fire while the place burned down, and they somehow became the villains of a festival that included ICP, Korn, Moby, Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit, Dave Matthews, Rage Against the Machine, and Creed.
Tim, that is almost season 1 of our show.
Also, Flea played naked for some reason, which is not a great idea if the venue is on fire.
No, the last thing you want to expose your genitals to is fire.
You've always said that.
Absolutely. Look, in my wallet, I carry, written on a small slip of paper, the last thing you want to expose your genitals to is fire. Right. Just as a reminder. Because, Tim, I knew 3 people that died of genital fires as a child.
Yep. And the second worst thing you can have on your genitals, a whole bunch of ice. Doesn't feel good. You ever put ice on your balls? Or penis? Balls or penis?
Why would I have done that?
Right.
Why did you do that?
It's horrible, Garrett. Don't do it. You try to put the fire out, and then they're very sensitive, so you put some ice on it. It makes it worse, is my point.
To be fair, Tim, the early aughts were a confusing time for all of us.
Yes, they were. There were jinkos. You were writing poetry.
Nope.
9/11 was happening.
Yep, you were strangling people in West Campus.
Garrett, I am not the West Campus Strangler.
Tim, have you strangled?
I will admit that I lived in Austin during the time the West Campus Strangler was active. I strangled some people in West Campus. In fact, I may have strangled the 7 people attributed to the West Campus Strangler. However, I am not the West Campus Strangler. That name ignores my work to the east.
So you are not the criminal known as the West Campus Strangler.
Right.
Wait, no, you are. You definitely are.
No, I'm not. Anyway, their next album comes out in 2002, by the way. Again, it's produced by Rick Rubin. Then they released Stadium Arcadium, a double album that really probably should have been pared down to a single album. In 2006, that won them 5 Grammys and sold 7 million copies, and I think is their only #1 album in the US to date. After that, they tour, and then Frusciante quits again. Flea joins the Thom Yorke supergroup Atoms for Peace. Red Hot Chili Peppers hire youngster John Klinghoffer on guitar. They wrote 60 to 70 songs for their next album, I'm With You, which was released in 2011. Thankfully, it did not have 60 to 70 songs on it. They got Danger Mouse to Danger Mouse, their next album, and that pretty much brings us up to today. But Garrett, I can go even further than the present day.
How does that work?
I have a little news from the future here. I can take us all the way to the year 2032. Sitting here, we would just assume that in 13 years, the Red Hot Chili Peppers would be forgotten. And if I told you in 1996 or 1993, you would be even more confident that by 2032 they would be forgotten. But that's not how the future plays out, Garrett. In 2032, the Peppers are remembered. Lenina Huxley, her office in the San Angeles Police Department has a Red Hot Chili Peppers poster right next to a Lethal Weapon 3 poster, so we can be certain that their particular brand of rap funk rock will live on.
You're absolutely right, Tim. The city of San Angeles will not forget the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they will wish them to be well. What an excellent Demolition Man reference. I'm warm all over right now.
I can vouch for that. You are steaming.
Take your hands off me.
You're so wet. Moist.
Right, okay. Oh, please, just stop inspecting my moisture.
But we have a little bit of a rap sheet here, as you'd imagine for a bunch of heroin addicts, and I'm going to try to ignore the heroin for this part. Their first album, the self-titled one, is credited as the first release from the funk metal genre and has been notably called by many critics as the spark that ignited the rap rock revolution.
Yeah, you don't want to be known as the grandfathers of new metal.
Kiedis has acknowledged having perpetrated statutory rape at least twice, and that inspired him to write a song called Catholic Schoolgirls Rule.
That seems like an inappropriate way to atone. Doesn't really give you the feeling of rehabilitation either.
No, it seems like you're celebrating your
I assume
crime.
This is in his book.
Believe so, yeah. I haven't read the book for a while. Flea was also close friends with actor River Phoenix and was with him on the 31st of October 1993, the night River died of a drug overdose, and even rode in the ambulance to the hospital with him. We can't say this. That situation sounds, allegedly, we're not saying this, sounds maybe like he had a hand in that.
Yeah, he knows more than he's saying, because if you talk to Flea, he's like, oh, I was performing upstairs in the Viper Room, and I came downstairs and was like, River Phoenix, oh no. You're ODing on something. It rhymes with schmeroin.
This isn't necessarily a rap sheet item. I couldn't figure out anywhere else to put this, but Dave Navarro was almost murdered in 1983. He decided to stay with his dad for a night instead of staying with his mom, and her ex-boyfriend stopped by and murdered her. He was not arrested for 8 years until a viewer called in a tip to America's Most Wanted.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Starting to understand why Dave Navarro's colors outside the lines a bit. Good God. I mean, Tim, honestly, so far you've not actually given us a single fact that goes on the rap sheet.
I think the statutory rape and the possible murder of River Phoenix.
I think you still have to say alleged across the board on those. Anything else?
No.
Then that means we can move right into general thoughts. Let's start talking about this album. Let's address the music up top, I guess.
Sure.
It is a relentless, funky jam sesh with some misplaced driving guitar.
I agree. Musically, it's kind of different from their previous albums due to the Dave of it all. There's more metal influence. There's a little bit less funk, I think, overall. I think overall Red Hot Chili Peppers have a very inconsistent output. With the exception of this album, I think I can appreciate at least 2 songs on every record from Blood Sugar Sex Magik through Stadium Arcadium.
Sure.
But this album, Garrett, fucking nightmare.
It asks a lot of you. You can hear this and think, oh boy, like rap rock really was an accident because Navarro never should have been in there. And he kept trying to Jane's Addiction up Red Hot Chili Peppers. But at the end of the day, Flea can only flee. So he's going to keep those funky bass lines going. And then at this point, Kiedis you can tell he is trying everything he can do to not actually have to sing on most of these songs. So you end up with this thing that's a proto nu metal existence. You know, the more of these episodes we've done, the more we've started to see how the Red Hot Chili Peppers, even if you said they never once sounded a little nu metal-y, and this album really does challenge that, you can see how imitations and mutations of them are directly tied to the Limp Bizkits of the world.
Sure. Part of the problem with this album, too, is that it's really influenced by the success of Under the Bridge and Breaking the Girl.
You can tell that they're basically trying to apply some new words to a familiar pattern that worked out once for them. You don't know if it's just the fact that they're not ready to make a new album or if they're doing it purposely just because they can't think of anything else.
Right. And Garrett, we got off lucky because this album is long, but they recorded 21 songs for this, most of which became B-sides or bonus tracks.
So lyrically, not their best work.
Absolutely not. It's embarrassing for the most part.
And very one note.
Well, there's three. There's drug songs. There's songs about people that died doing drugs or shot themselves in the head. And then there's dick songs.
Well, there's dick songs.
Yes, there's always dick songs. It's a Red Hot Chili Peppers album.
That is fair. I didn't pick up on the dicks. You'll have to point them out to me.
Okay. This was produced by Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin's a good producer, but the only thing that outnumbers the great albums he has been involved in is the awful albums he's been involved in. Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, Ed Sheeran, Slipknot, Bruce, Aerosmith, Weezer, K-Way, Metallica.
Good Lord.
Laden's Gaga, Kid Rock. It's bad.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He has done some absolute garbage.
Yeah, some of that's not his fault. You can only do so much with Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about how bad some of those albums might have been without the influence of a Rick Rubin.
He has worked with them before and created something they both agreed was pretty good and most of America purchased. To come back in, and I'm going to ask it up top and we will revisit the question throughout the episode. They claim that no one knows Kiedis is all fucked up on heroin again during the making of this album. Do we think that's true?
I don't, and Kiedis doesn't.
Oh, he thinks they were just turning a blind eye?
There's a series of quotes. He says, "These are songs about how I love drugs," and he says he was stunned that no one else in the band picked up that he was back on the drugs.
This whole album's a goddamn call for help, except for when it's by Flea. Why is there so much Hindi references in this album?
Man, we will get into that. It's bizarre, and I've got an answer for you. It's because he did a Beatles and he went to India.
And I got a little bit on that as well. How deep did you go into that?
Not very.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a little mid-episode rap sheet for you. What else do we need to say about this album as a whole before we get into these songs?
Oh, I think we should just hit the songs.
All right, I'm foaming at the mouth.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's hit the song by song. Track number 1, Warped.
This album kicks off with terrible high school poetry. Spoken, not sung. This album starts off with, "My tendency for dependency is offending me. It's upending me. I'm pretending, see, to be strong and free from my dependency. It's warping me." Tony's on drugs, and he's not real good at expressing it.
Tim, I couldn't agree more. This is bad high school poetry. So bad, in fact, I had to dig out the tome.
Ooh.
Fresh from a long break, new listeners might not even know what I'm talking about. Folks, I was, at the age of 16, the worst. I mean, so embarrassing that I hesitate to even resurrect this segment of the show, but when I read these lyrics that Tim just read to you, I had to. I owe it to you. So I wrote poetry as a 16-year-old boy, which I read to my class when given the assignment, please read poems by your favorite poet. I chose me, and I said them to a girl's face. So you read The Tendency for Dependency and such, so I read to you from my book of poetry from high school the following. The explanation of my motivation is my creation of a hesitation to just let go, to not look back, to kiss the sky and say goodbye. I close my eyes, the world is gone, the fears, the tears, the life I lead. And it's just me, not the me you see, the me we all strive to be, the me I wish that I could be, the me that none shall ever see.
Garrett, were you on heroin at this point?
I think maybe. It's hard to say no. I'd scream plagiarism, but I just never really heard this album.
It's got the perfect cadence. It's just as bad. Well, it might not be just as bad.
It's pretty close. To kiss the sky and say goodbye.
Yeah, it's, you know what?
I think I was on heroin, man. Oh, Lord.
Maybe it was like you were accidentally on heroin?
Accidental heroin?
Yeah.
It was my alter ego, H-Man. Superhero
You have a
extraordinaire.
beast?
No, Tim, a beast never does heroin. That's a sleeping, slumbering beast.
Oh, okay.
Heroin quells the beast.
Perhaps you have some sort of multiple personality disorder and you have not experienced your beast yet, but one of your other personalities is a heroin addict.
Sure, but he's not the beast.
But you do have a beast.
Everyone's got a beast, Tim.
Night craving sends me crawling, oh. Beg for mercy, does it show? A vacancy that's full of holes. Hold me please, I'm feeling cold.
You were on drugs?
Yeah.
Just shy of saying, I'm on drugs, you all can see. Someone please, oh please help me.
Oh, I like your song. Garrett, this was the first single off this album.
Who made that decision?
Clearly Aeroplane, right? That's the obvious choice. It's great.
God, I will strike you down.
Track number 2, The Great Aeroplane.
He likes two things, Tim. He likes music and he likes heroin.
He might just like heroin. I think music might be a metaphor for heroin.
You son of a bitch, get out of my notes. Line 4, Tim. Is music a metaphor for heroin, and if so, why?
Because, Garrett, he has to have something else to talk about, but he only has the one thing.
Maybe he likes getting high and listening to music.
Garrett, remember the last time you were on heroin.
Okay.
You don't give a shit about the music. Just want more of that
maybe
heroin.
he's telling himself that.
Oh, maybe.
What if, Tim, the only time he's ever had heroin, somebody then puts a record on, so he thinks heroin only works with music?
That could be.
Be harder to, well, no, not with today's modern conveniences. I was going to say it'd be harder to become an addict, but Lord knows I don't ever take my headphones out, ever.
11-year-old me loved this song.
That sounds right. I didn't.
And I shouldn't have, because it's maybe the worst song in this album, and that is saying a lot. I believe the spelling of aeroplane on here was the inspiration for Neutral Milk Hotel's spelling of In the Aeroplane Over the Sea.
I hope it is not.
You let me have this, Garrett. I think it's very funny to assume that Jeff Mangum was a huge fan of Dave Navarro era Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He's an odd duck. It's entirely possible.
This is a dumb song about how Tony loves getting high. He's pretty sure it's going to kill him one day like it did Hillel. But, you know, he's cool with that.
I really want to know... I like pleasure spiked with pain, and music is my aeroplane. It's my aeroplane. Why does music have to be a metaphor for heroin? I suspect that they said not another heroin song, Anthony.
That's probably accurate.
Listen, you're sober now. We don't sing about that every song. It's important to acknowledge where you came from, but you gotta look forward. I got a song about airplanes. Great. Good to see you healthy. Anthony? Oh, he went to the bathroom for 3 more hours. Flea, you're in.
Maybe the reason that it's music is used as this metaphor is he is lamenting the fact that music is what's getting him high. He gets his money from music, and all of his money turns into drugs, and then he puts that inside of him. So every
music's
song,
the transportation to heroin town.
Yeah, every song that he writes results in heroin. You've got the just one note could make me float away later in the song.
Yeah, that's what made me think the whole thing was just a big heroin metaphor. And one note is probably just, like one, hit. Is this supposed to be sexy? One note from the song she wrote could fuck me where I lay?
We listened to Stretch You Out, Garrett, so it is likely that he intended it to be sexy.
His idea of sexy does not overlap with mine.
Musically, this song alternates between parts that sound a lot like Red Hot Chili Peppers and parts that just do not make any sense. I think it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Dave Navarro fighting it out. But this song with the goddamn children's choir.
Tim, do we have children's choir in our list of ways you have a bad song on your hands?
I don't think so.
Well, let's add it. By the end, they're just shouting aeroplane.
Yes.
The sound of joy in a child's voice cuts through me like a knife.
Well, of course it does, Garrett. You went your entire childhood without ever feeling joy.
I felt joy. Hold on, I've got one.
Time you crushed the frog in your hands?
Oh my God. No, if anything, I was nice to animals. Jesus Christ. Weird shout out for Mazzy Star.
The star of Mazzy must push her voice inside of me?
This is what makes me think he is getting high and listening to music, because I think on heroin you can really feel the music pushing into your chest.
That seems so knowing.
I'm just reporting back what I've heard.
What you've heard from your body as you experience this.
No. Maybe. Listen, Tim, I am not on trial here. I am not sitting here saying that I'm a heroin junkie. Jesus Christ.
No one's saying that. Not on the
We need
record.
to investigate further.
Yep.
Track number 3, Deep Kick. Who wants more spoken word?
Oh, also with whispers in the background. You get a little fucked me. This is garbage.
There's a different song being sung under this terrible spoken word poem. Explain something to me, Tim. He says it started when we were little kids, free spirits, but already tormented by our own hands, given to us by our parents. What does he mean, tormented by our own hands?
Oh, I assume he's
poor
talking
decisions?
about masturbation. Self-abuse.
Oh my God, that church did a number on you. What a horrible thing to tell a person.
Yeah, it is basically child abuse.
After we get through the poem, out of nowhere, we get Zedlered. Huh. Ooh, shit.
And that seems to be the chorus of this song.
No, technically, Tim, the chorus of this song is two young brothers on a hovercraft, telepathic love, and belly laughs. Tim, do you recall the time you and I went to San Francisco?
Yes.
We had gone to Los Angeles to see Mr. Neil Young perform a solo acoustic show, and it was fucking sweet. Mm-hmm. And then we hopped on up to San Francisco to have a bit of a hike around the old Muir Woods and eat like a couple of 1-2 pigs. And it was a great time. However, when Anthony Kiedis and Flea go to San Francisco, they do it a little different. May I read from the lyrics?
Please.
Hopped on a train into the night, got a ride with a transvestite. Two boys in San Francisco, blasted off in a BART bathroom. Good Lord. We didn't ride the BART. Neither one of us did heroin in a public restroom.
Well,
you did keep shouting two boys in San Francisco.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were two boys in San Francisco.
Yeah, we were grown men. It was still a good time, but I'm a little concerned we didn't really get the authentic San Francisco experience.
I think we did. There's two sides of San Francisco. There is the things that we did, and then there's heroin.
You know, I did see a number of people publicly defecating in that city.
I only saw the one, but it was awesome.
That's not awesome.
It was pretty awesome. Garrett, I've never seen a man pull down his pants and just poop on the street before.
Technically, it was off a curb.
Well, yeah, he didn't want to be a fucking animal.
Right. Yeah, it was a weird time to be stuck at a red light. I think they were having the other time.
Yes.
They were doing the other San Francisco. So I guess I'm glad we didn't go the Kiedis route.
Then they quote the Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, Flea gives some really bad advice here.
Yes, it is. The lines here are, but the Butthole Surfers said, it's better to regret something you do than something you didn't do, which I assume that's a reference to the Alfred Lord Tennyson thing, the better to have loved and lost.
I doubt it. Why would it possibly be that?
The Butthole Surfers, Garrett, they were learned men.
You know, I take it back, Butthole Surfers. I apologize. Warbling guitar solo while Flea tries to sing.
This is the first really good reminder. Do not let Flea sing.
I guarantee you, Tim, Anthony had to take another one of his 3-hour bathroom breaks. And they were just like, I don't think he's going to come back for this last bit. Flea, you're up. I've always wondered what's going on with Flea's voice. Why does he sound like an old man with no teeth?
He's got something missing in the front. I don't know if it's a giant gap in his teeth or if he's actually missing a tooth. He has lived a hard life. He has ingested the amount of heroin that an old man, your average old man, would have ingested by the time he is 70 to 80. He has ingested that amount by 1995, and he is technically a young man still.
But has the insides of an old junkie.
It's a rotting pumpkin in there. It's like whenever you get your jack-o'-lantern and you carve it all up and you're super proud of it, and then it's November 4th and you've still left it out on your porch. And, you know, it's Texas, so it's been hot. That is what the inside of Flea is.
Oh, a rotting jack-o'-lantern?
Yes.
You know what? It probably smells about the same. Couple things in here. One, if we have not included fake laughter on the list of things that are a clear indication that the song you're listening to is pure hot shit, let's add it now. Second of all, listing locations and doing cool things in those locations is already on the list, and we're getting a lot of it here. We mentioned the San Francisco trip. They go to England. They do some various other shenanigans.
Also, I'm just going to say this. I don't think Lena Dunham approves of the word transvestite, and I don't think she would have approved of it in 1995.
Can we not say transvestite anymore?
I don't think so.
I think that was a legal term.
No, I don't think so. Might be a legal term, but...
No, I think you're wrong. I think you are confusing a transgender person with a transvestite. A transvestite chooses only to wear clothing and appearances that are traditionally associated with the other gender.
I don't think it's in vogue anymore, Garrett.
How would you describe them? Crossdresser? That doesn't sound better.
It doesn't. I think you just ignore it. I think you just pretend. You just say, okay, that's what you're doing, and I'm okay. Just not going to mention
That's appeasement.
Yep, that's what we do, Garrett. That is what our society is.
Let me make clear. I have no problem with it. I think transvestite's still the word we all use.
I don't think so.
Listeners, let us know. Is Tim wrong again?
I'm not wrong, Garrett.
Anthony Kiedis comes back at the end of the song, Tim. Groggy-eyed from a sweet heroin nap in the bathroom, he just comes whispering at the end of the song, and I feel like I'm getting close to you.
I have to assume Flea was up there, he seized his moment singing, and Anthony Kiedis just sidled up behind him and was whispering that in his ear, and the microphone picked it up. It was a threat. It was a heroin-fueled threat when he noticed that Flea was taking his job.
Sure, comes back from the bathroom a mere 3.5 hours later.
Yeah.
Come to find out they couldn't just wait a minute. I got this, baby. Where's Navarro right now? Who knows?
Oh, Navarro has turned into a bat and he's hanging upside down from the top of the studio.
He's summoning a succubus in the corner. He's defiantly stirring a cauldron. I don't know what a lady witch is called, but it's definitely what Dave Navarro is.
A lady witch?
Oh, I'm sorry, a man witch.
I think they're called warlocks.
No.
Yeah.
That's not how I picture a warlock.
We'll call him, a Harry Potter.
No, that's too soft. I'm talking about something that is mischievous, a threat, and has a secret.
His secret's right on his face, Garrett.
Whatever a male witch is called, that's what Dave Navarro is. Track number 4, My Friends. Tim, this album is a bummer.
I do still like this song.
Yep, I really like this song.
However, hold on. Even this song, the agreed upon good song on this album, is pretty stupid.
Well, it's just about heroin again.
Yeah.
Guys, we don't like talking about heroin this much. But they forced us. There's no other way to interpret this. I tried so hard to come up with anything this could be about that isn't heroin, and it's just about heroin. I'm glad you said it. I like this song. I still like this song. Even after this week, I like this song. In the context of the album, it's kind of a bummer. You're just like, good Lord, just more talk of heroin and death.
Yeah.
However, Tim, I do have a couple anecdotes to this song.
Oh.
One, I used to, in high school, hang out with a friend of mine while we would play guitar and sing this song. So, you're going to have an affinity for a song you do that with.
While doing heroin?
No, drinking beers.
Oh.
Anyway, I also used to have this song on a mixed CD that I would drive around with a lot. Now, one evening, I was driving around Grandview, Texas, which is just south of Fort Worth, and I had a friend in my car, and I thought it would be really funny to turn the headlights off and see if we could stay on the road. Because I was the worst human being in the world. While my passenger screamed uncontrollably and batted at my car, thus, at the time, knocking the keys out of the ignition. What he didn't realize is that my car did not require keys. You could just turn the ignition. And so he began screaming, and in his thrashing, he did not turn the headlights back on, but what he did do is hit next track on My Friends. What then played was first a audio watermark, because I did not purchase the software I used to burn the CD. So first it said, support this software, register today. And then Jay-Z's Big Pimpin' came on. And I was laughing so hard, I swerved violently and ended up in the middle of a cornfield.
So I'm prone to like this song, I think, just because I'm prone to favoring acoustic songs. I don't have some sort of Big Pimpin' story. I think that it's a little bit of an overrated single.
Even this song, Tim, like most of the songs on this album, if maybe all of them, has not been played live since 1996.
P, I think, has been played because it's whenever Anthony Kiedis needs to take his water breaks now, which allegedly are not for heroin.
Right.
This song seems like a blatant attempt to recreate the success of Under the Bridge or Breaking the Girl.
Yeah.
It's also the monetization of the personal struggles of his bandmates, past and present. He sings, "My friends are so depressed, I feel the question of your loneliness. Confide, 'cause I'll be on your side, you know I will." His depressed friends being Hillel Slovak in his life-ending heroin addiction, John Fucente in his life-threatening heroin addiction, Dave Navarro in his life-threatening heroin addiction, Flea and his various opiate addictions, his ex-girlfriend apparently in prison, presumably for something heroin-related, and Chad Gaylord Smith, who seems pretty okay.
Yeah, I think he has maybe like a separate van when they go on tour.
Yeah, probably. This is, for me, the highlight of this album. I mean, this is still kind of middling, right?
In a list of the top 15, I would put it at probably, and I'm spitballing, 9.
Yeah, at best.
For re-listenability, like 4. Because they have a lot of music that is objectively good, but like how many times can you listen to...
Aeroplane?
No, you fuck. Tim, it's bad.
It is so bad.
Track number 5, Coffee Shop.
The first half of this song is nu metal, and then it turns into Widespread Panic.
I hate this song. I don't know what the fuck it's about.
Yeah, there's some of the dumbest lyrics I've ever heard. Would you like to read some, or shall I?
You go ahead.
I'm just a lousy bum, searching for the unknown crumb. Something or someone to come. Come along, illustrate my lust. Combust.
He meets a woman in a coffee shop routinely and then fucks her in his car, or possibly in a nearby hotel.
Right, so this is one of the dick songs, Garrett.
Oh, I thought it was more of a friendly prostitute that he almost certainly exchanged heroin for sex for, and I'm not sure who's getting which.
Yes, I think really the theme of this song is words that rhyme, but yeah.
Sure, and if it happens to have anything to do with having sex with somebody and then also heroin, great.
Right, heroin and dick are being exchanged. No one's debating that. Meet me at the coffee shop. We can dance like Iggy Pop. I hate this song. I hate it so much.
It's not good. It's so strange, too, because it's another one of these songs that starts in one style, and then suddenly you're listening to a Tito Puente song with a lot of bongos, and then it kind of morphs into the Superfly theme song for just a second, just long enough for you to be like, I think somebody owes someone some money. Oh, it changed again.
Yeah, the bongos, I always go back to like the Widespread Panic thing with but
yeah, we've seen some wicked bongo solos.
Tito Puente's is not a bad description for it either.
Track number 6, Tim's favorite, P.
I'm a pacifist.
Garrett, did you relate to this at all?
No. The first line is an I'm a pacifist.
But it's mostly about how he doesn't like being picked on because he was little.
Oh, sure. In fact, Tim, this was my favorite song on the album when I first heard it in 1995.
I'm not sure if that's shocking or not.
No, I think it fits perfectly. But at that time, Tim, I would have been in 6th or 7th grade.
Right,
7th,
so you were the size of a second grader.
3'1".
Please tell me that's true.
I don't know how tall I was. The only marker I have is 9th grade, freshman year, 4'8" and 1/2 inches.
Oh my God, you poor bastard.
Get in that car seat, you weird looking fuck.
And your head was gigantic. You were a Frankie Muniz of a boy.
Oh, Tim, I was as Muniz as it gets. Yeah, I was despised by those around me.
First of all, Flea singing and writing, still a bad artistic choice.
I think it might be one of my favorite songs on this album to date.
Right, well, this is incel-y emo sad boy nonsense, and it would fit better on a Weezer album.
Yes, the difference being I'm picturing Flea, knowing Flea, versus your, what's his dick?
Frankie Muniz?
No. We are moving on from Frankie Muniz. When I picture Rivers Cuomo, I see sad boy, emo, incel nonsense. When I see Flea, I'm like, oh, when he says he can fuck my shit up, I kind of believe him. It's a lot of mixed messages, though. He says, I am a pacifist, so I can fuck your shit up. Oh, yeah, I'm small. I guess what he's saying is it would bother somebody who's overly aggressive to have to deal with someone that's just like, whatever, man. Has Flea achieved enlightenment?
Almost certainly. But then he goes on and says, fuck you, asshole, you homophobic, racist dick, big and tough and macho, you can kick my ass, so fucking what? So maybe not.
I think his point was so fucking what?
I think the overall point of this song is the pacifist thing. However, if we were doing this show in 95, I might stop the show at this point and warn the police, because it kind of sounds like he might be going back to high school for revenge. I don't think that's the case, but...
He knows that those boys aren't still there, though.
Well, there are boys
Right?
like them, Garrett.
God, he's just going to go beat up big kids. Big kids are still kids, folks. You can't hit them.
The best part about that would be in 95, they would be so excited. Fucking Flea's at our school. Let's go see it. He's just punching them in the face.
How's it going? What happened to you? Flea beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
I think he knocked out my teeth.
I did not care for this song.
It makes me laugh.
Agree to disagree.
You're just wrong.
God, you love this song.
Track number 7, One Big Mob.
This is more new metal from a band that really should not be doing that.
I think this is the grandest attempt at new metal on the album.
This song has One Big Mob translated into Hindi. The lyrics reference going to India, where he apparently met the Dalai Lama for some reason.
Guy'll see anybody. I think this song is about an orgy.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I thought that was going to be news to you.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Of course, One Big Mob is repeated throughout, so we can all assume that's just one big pile of bodies. But he sings, "Rockin' to the beat of the kangaroo, let me kiss your feet and your forehead too." Obviously, it's some sort of weird kangaroo foreplay.
We've all been there.
Sure, I mean...
Where you get into your outfit, you got that pouch in the front, your lady hops in, you jump around the room, kind of gets everything started.
You have a hilariously limited understanding of the anatomy of a kangaroo. You're not the Joey. Why is it your instinct to be the Joey?
No. In this case, I was the kangaroo, and the lady was the Joey.
That's not better. As Tim mentioned, when they get tired of shouting One Big Mob, they decide to instead shout Ekbara Mala. And of course, that means One Big Mob in Hindi. They shout that a bunch as well. And then they sing a lover to the sun and a brother to the cool breeze. I assume sun and cool breeze are swinger talk. It's about either like what you want fucked or like how you want it fucked. But it's definitely like, hey, bro, you into the sun or the cool breeze?
That makes sense. It's a good code. He seems like the kind of person that would say, we're all sort of the same, so I am you or me, so since we're the same kind of thing, right? You and me?
Oh, Jesus.
Why don't I just get inside of that?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's how it ends.
Yeah,
Him
yeah.
inside you. I didn't see exactly where it was going. I thought it was just a ketisism. I assume it was just going to trail off with him nodding out. Nope.
Being inside of somebody trails off with him nodding out.
Oh, how tragic. That is not going to help anyone's self-esteem if your partner falls asleep inside you.
Well, it depends. If you know they're on heroin, it kind of might mitigate that to some extent.
That's true.
This song ends as a Rage Against the Machine song, which was originally going to go straight into the song about Tony wanting to stretch out his good friend Flea, or maybe Dave Navarro, somebody.
Our single from the prepisode was supposed to be at the end of this song. Luckily, it is not. Tim, what's crazy is that we're dabbling with the idea that he is just broadening his horizons with the teachings of the Lama. But then you get a lyric like, scrawled upon the wall of a bathroom stall, a stranger wrote a note, they spoke to all. I don't know where invitations to orgies are written, but if I had to guess, bathroom stall.
Well, Garrett,
Number
I
one
think
spot.
he's saying, now that he has been enlightened by the Lama, he can see the beauty of the scrawling of somebody in a bathroom stall. You know, it's inviting him to an orgy, but he sees the humanity in that. He can really reach into that person's soul before he enters them physically.
I was going to say, he's still going to that orgy, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is.
He's got to get in that kangaroo suit, though. God, why is she your Roo? Or Joey. I don't know how it works. At the very end, he makes a reference to downhill skier Peekaboo Street. Did you catch that?
I didn't. I don't know what it means.
It's a downhill skier named Peekaboo Street. That's her name.
Her Christian name is Peekaboo.
I wish you wouldn't put it that way. It is her legal name. Yes. I don't see what your God has to do with any of this.
He's everywhere, Garrett. Or
Yeah, she used to do... Stop with the Christ already. I'm saying Peekaboo Street's a real person. She used to do chapstick commercials. She's an Olympic downhill skier. How do you not know you're Olympic downhill skiing?
I didn't live in the U.S. at this point, and Saudi
right.
Arabia had very little to do with skiing. Track number 8, Walkabout.
You could do it in a zone, you could do it in the desert, you could do the unknown on a walkabout.
This fucking song enrages me.
It's the chill song on the album, so I understand you are not into this.
I'm glad you said it. It's 311 on their very best day. This song is literally about how much he enjoys a nice walk to clear his head.
And by that, he means he likes to walk away from people so that he can get down to that heroin.
Well, Tim, of course. The cadence feels almost like he's trying to do a Lou Reed, take a walk on the wild side.
He's not, but yeah, I could see the attempt.
Guys, guess what? We've hit the high notes. We are in the downward slide into shit canyon. This album gets only worse from here.
Track number 9, Tearjerker.
I saw you were sitting backstage in a dress.
Wet mouth noises.
Yeah.
It opens with, could you turn up the track a little bit, please? I can't stand them, Tim. I hate it. I hate it so much. I do it occasionally, and I work so hard to edit them out. You do it, and I just want to rip your lips off.
Oh, Garrett, we have the good taste to not include those in the final edit of this show. You're making an album that is following Blood Sugar Sex Magik, an album that sold 12 million copies. Don't include this.
I guarantee you they had another take.
This is a song about how Tony felt about Kurt Cobain dying. So, it's just like Neil Young's Sleeps with Angels, Patti Smith's About a Boy, or all Foo Fighters songs.
I don't know about that last one.
It is. They all are, Garrett. They miss him so much. He was the good one.
Oh, bullshit. Dave Grohl's awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty great. It's weird, though, because it's written like a love song. First time I saw you, you were sitting backstage in a dress, a perfect mess. You never knew this, but I wanted badly for you to requite my love. It's weird, right?
Okay, so a couple things. Yes. One, it is weird.
Garrett, I like your whiskers, and I liked the dimple in your chin, your pale blue eyes.
God damn it. Okay, stop. Yes, it's weird. It is uncomfortably specific and personal. Now, Tim, you read the line, but I wanted badly for you to requite my love. Fantastic reading. That's what the lyrics say. That's not what he says. Anthony Kiedis does not know the word requite because he says requite. There's people in the room. There's a producer.
Yeah, Rick Rubin knows how to say requite.
Of course he does. Just sloppy. And the whisker stuff and the chin dimples. It's just weird. Now, Tim, I do have to say, should I, by some bizarre happenstance, die before you do? If I die before you, which I do not think has even a 1% chance of happening, I require that you sit down and write and then pay someone else to perform a song of this caliber or better at my funeral / roller skating party.
I have some good news for you. I have already booked Tony Kiedis for that.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's going to talk about how he misses you and he kind of is in love with you and maybe wants to bang you still.
So you did write this.
Yeah, no, I wrote this.
Yeah, I would love for Anthony Kiedis to sing my life song at my funeral. At my funeral / roller skating party. Couples morning only. Coming up, I swear, by All for One. That means couples morning only. But
Yeah.
I don't think Anthony Kiedis will outlive me.
Garrett, Anthony Kiedis, like Neil Young, will be around forever.
Oh, so he is one of the chosen few. Neil Young, Anthony Kiedis, and Keith Richards.
There's a few others, but they can do heroin and have brain aneurysms to their heart's content. They'll be fine.
God, there's some sort of Highlanders.
Yes, they absolutely are. The problem is they occasionally have to kill one of their own.
Oh, because as they get older, the collective power is probably much weaker, so they have to diminish the herd in order to strengthen themselves.
Right, so, you hear of a new Highlander in, we'll say, Seattle. He's really a rising star. At some point, you have to make it look like suicide.
It's a good hypothetical, Tim. Jesus. Track number 10, One Hot Minute. We open with 20 seconds of what is either 2 notes or 2 guitars tuning a single string.
This song drives me fucking crazy because it starts off and it kind of seems like Big Star's 13 or I Can Tell That We're Gonna Be Friends. It has this weirdly childlike, innocent thing. I was riding on my bike, me with my friend, we're so alike. She said, all we have to do is this. We just have to stop and share a kiss.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it has this troubling undercurrent to it. One hot minute and I'm in it, come and get it. If I chase it, I might waste it, come and spit it.
Say that again?
If I chase it, I might waste it, come and spit it.
I think that's got to be drug lingo. So he's probably worried about chasing heroin maybe with cocaine and then evening out too much. I don't know.
So is he riding bikes and sharing a first kiss with heroin?
That's less romantic. I was picturing that he was riding bikes, sharing a first kiss, and then sharing a first needle.
There's danger here. His friend should leave.
I mean, who's to say? Maybe he should leave. Maybe this is about the young girl who first lured him in with kisses and then jabbed him with a needle full of heroin. Other than that, fuck this song with a giant wooden stick.
All right, track number 11, Falling into Grace.
Where to start, Tim?
Talk box.
What I was thinking is the human didgeridoo. Is that the talk box?
Yes, I think so. Stop it! Stop it! You gotta stop it.
What, I'm making music.
You are not.
And I'm about to start singing about a guru.
Oh,
Get ready
yeah.
to be angry.
Yeah, there's a bunch of yoga and Buddhist stuff on here that I do not care about.
Tim, I went deep. When I heard the lyrics, I'm falling into grace with you, I'm falling into guru moo. Pretty odd lyrics, but as we mentioned, Anthony Kiedis did make a trip to India and learn about Eastern culture. When he came back, he began to follow a local guru named Guru Mu or Gurmu, depending on who you talk to. Now, Gurmu Kaur Khalsa was originally born to Mary Mae Gibson, and back when she met Kundalini Master Yogi Bhajan, she was recently divorced and traveling around the country dropping acid, taking diet pills, and living in a tent where she would barter food for walnuts she found in the woods.
I've been there.
Pretty together, lady. You have been there. Mm-hmm. You might be there right now.
Yep.
I don't know
I
where
met
you
a bear.
go. Oh, I bet you did.
Bear didn't want walnuts.
No, they're not going to give you salmon for walnuts. I don't want to hear your plan. Stay away from bears. So then a friend takes her to one of Bhajan's yoga workshops in Tucson, and before long, Bhajan has put her to work cleaning his house and caring for his sick father.
Let me stop you right there. Do not go to Tucson to find spirituality. That's not where that lives.
No, you're just going to get a really bad sunburn and maybe lose some money at some casinos.
You've been to Tucson, I see.
Yes, I have. So this Kundalini master, is that the breathing yoga?
I don't know.
I think so. It's where you experience transcendence or some sort of weird psychotropic state through focused breathing. I think it works. I don't know shit about it, though. Anyway, this Yogi Bhajan is some sort of spiritual master, and he's got people working in his house taking care of his dad. But Timmy, Bhajan's got a little bit of a temper. He could be a screamer. He once lectured for 90 minutes on the subconscious reasons somebody might leave a kitchen cabinet door ajar.
That sounds like something that this album is all about.
Right. And so this dude, after taking Guru Mu, or Gurmu as she is also known, under his wing, screaming at her, having her take care of his ailing father, and cleaning his home, he declared, "You are to deliver babies." And now she is Hollywood's premier pregnancy guru.
Ugh.
Yeah, speaking of the experience with Bhajan, who might I add is now dead, she said you just longed for him even to yell at you or tell you to do something because so much love was coming out of it. So this lady's a crazy person, and this song has her in the chorus. It's a long way to go, but it's a very strange story.
Yeah, I would have stopped with every time you said Gurmu, I thought Dormammu.
Yeah, Dormammu, I'm here to bargain with you. Why is your voice so odd? Are you British? No, I'm Dr. Stephen Strange. This is how Americans talk. Dormammu, I'm here to bargain. Kiedis also sings, you can smell the purple light coming from her heart. And at this point, it was very abundant to me that Anthony Kiedis is not necessarily the rock star I've always pictured him to be, but rather the annoying gentleman on the airplane that has to tell you about the power of crystals.
Yes.
Oh man, you know who probably bought it hook, line, and sinker though? Navarro.
Oh, yeah.
He probably believes in the spirit of crystals and the power of healing.
How much money for heroin do you think Tony got out of Dave Navarro by selling him crystals?
It's in pounds.
Pounds worth of money?
Pounds of heroin, Tim.
I measure my money in pounds.
I measure my money in pounds of heroin. Got 14 pounds of H in the old bankaroo. They make a guitar sound like a punji, the snake charming instrument.
Yeah. And I have to say, I am not a fan of the chanting.
No. Doesn't work here. I will say, Tim, I was shocked by one thing. When I read the title, Falling into Grace, I was pretty surprised to learn there was no woman named Grace in this song. I assumed it was a wiener song.
It has to be. This is the kind of thing that you get pseudo-spirituality, and I'm not sure that I'm in tune enough with Tony to pick it out, but he's banging Eastern religion or something in this song.
He was probably banging his way through a yoga class.
Yeah.
It's Anthony Kiedis. He's in great shape, despite the heroin.
Yeah.
Just looks ripped.
Because of the heroin, Garrett. He doesn't have any fat because he doesn't eat anything because he does a lot of heroin.
Tim, stop putting check marks in the pro column. We are not telling our listeners to do heroin. That's not how you grow your audience. Folks, stay away from that sweet, delicious, thinning heroin.
Track number 12, Shallow Be Thy Game.
I kind of like this song, Tim.
It's back to a more recognizable Red Hot Chili Peppers sound. It's less Dave Navarro influenced.
I like that it seems to be a direct affront to your God.
It does. He does not seem to be a fan of Christianity.
He sings, I was not created in the likeness of a fraud. Your hell is something scary. I prefer a loving God. I think he's coming to hunt down Christians. He says, I'm a threat to your survival and your control company. Obviously, the control company is your organized religion, your Jesus worshippers. I think you should be in fear of the Highlander. He's some sort of secular crusader, H-man, coming to murder you.
I think he's coming for God. I think this is a song declaring his war literally on God.
That's very possible.
He's going to murder God.
Well, he says he prefers a loving God. So does he believe that there's a different God? Or is he just saying, you, one, the only God, is not loving enough for me. I shall kill you.
Based on the last song, Garrett, he plans to murder the one true God and take his place and be the more loving God and not the one that, drowns people and smashes babies on rocks and whatnot.
Jesus Christ, dude.
That's in the
Any
book.
other
That's in the
examples?
book. Read your Bible. It's horrible.
Don't. The human didgeridoo / talkbox is back and sounds a lot like Colossus from that old X-Men arcade game where you go, did you ever play that?
No.
That was a great game. We should go to pinballs. Ugh, this song's so forgettable.
Yeah. All right. Last song, Garrett. Number 13, Transcending.
Does this song have a triangle in it?
Yes. Yes, it does. Well, it's a song about River Phoenix and his overdose death.
Right. That Flea knows nothing about but happened to write this song.
Yes. This is their O.J. Simpson's If I Did It.
This thing kind of falls apart quickly. It is allegedly about passing of River Phoenix, whom bassist Flea was very close to, but it starts to get really hard to follow, and I feel like he starts calling everything a loving stream. Did you understand what was going on there?
No, it's kind of revisionist, I think. This thing that people do after Kurt Cobain or John Lennon or whoever dies, where they elevate them to this like God status, even if they weren't necessarily good people in life. It has that, what you're talking about, the loving stream, the he's all around us now.
Oh, is that what that was?
I think so. In Tony's case in particular, given how River Phoenix died, if you really like him that much, maybe don't do drugs with him and get him off heroin.
It's a tall order, Tim.
Sure,
I've seen
right, but
almost every episode of Intervention ever made.
I'm not saying you're responsible for getting somebody off of drugs, but don't give them drugs.
Yeah, Dr. Van Vonderen will tell you, you cannot be an enabler, Tim. You've got to let them fall on their face, even if that means watching them struggle, which is why I always let you struggle.
Yes, you are helping me. I see that now.
Thank you.
Yep. The end of this song, fuck the magazines, fuck the green machine, see the human being in a loving stream. River Phoenix kind of had a fairly clean reputation, and so the media went apeshit in the way he died and tried to make a shit ton of money on it.
And that takes us to the end of One Hot Minute, an album that has only gotten worse with time. So Tim, I have to ask, how did this thing do?
This hit number 1 on the Finnish and Swedish charts, number 4 in the US, number 2 on the Schweizer Hit Parade. No word how it did with the Dutch. It is double platinum in the US, and from what I could tell, it sold between 3 and 5 million copies worldwide. It was seen as kind of a critical and commercial failure after Blood Sugar Sex Magic, as it sold well under half as many copies of that. But Garrett, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are one of the best-selling bands of all time. They have have sold 80 million records worldwide. They have been nominated for 16 Grammys. They have won 6 of those. They are the most successful band in alternative rock history, and they currently hold the record for most number 1 singles at 13, most cumulative singles at number 1 with 85, and most top 10 singles, 25, on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart.
That's amazing. So, Tim, what did people think of it?
Robert Christgau weighed in, but he didn't decide to write anything about this. Instead, he just gave it a little bomb icon.
Not a fan.
I think it's appropriate.
You know what, Chrisco? For the first time, I agree. This thing is a tiny bomb. What are the Amazon reviews looking like?
There are 198 reviews. It has a 4.2 out of 5-star average, 53% 5-star, 3% 1-star.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised. King of Hearts said, nice album. In 2004. Red Hot Chili Peppers have been really authentic on this album with music. Some songs can be just plain strange like pee. Overall, it is a good CD if you like this band. Reminder, you will not hear anything like dueling banjos on this CD either. It's cool, and sometimes it's like this band could even perform with Aerosmith. 4 out of 5 stars.
That's my favorite review you've ever read. What is happening? That guy does not speak English as his first language, which is fine because I don't speak any other languages as well as that guy speaks English. But wow, Aerosmith dueling banjos? What?
I don't know.
So you're telling me this song is good? Yes. Does it have any dueling banjos? No. Okay. Could they play with Aerosmith?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it a listen. Thank you. That is all the criteria I have for new music.
Yeah, it is quite the algorithm. Adara Marie said, okay, enough bitching. I see all the bitching about this album, but if you think about it, this album was just a rough time in all the members' lives. It's definitely different from Blood Sugar Sex Magic, but there will never be an album like that ever again. It sucks that John's not in the group, but without this time in their lives, there could not possibly be a Red Hot Chili Peppers around. And I, for one, would not be able to live in a world where the Red Hot Chili Peppers did not exist. Rock on.
Wow, she should really start preparing.
Yes.
Because that's gonna happen.
Yep, that was 4 out of 5 stars, by the way.
What gets 5?
Unclear. One more here. This is by J.E. Santos called Never Say Never. I wholeheartedly hate this band. Never liked it, never again will. This album is something else. It's lovable, it kicks, it does not sound as the usual same song in all their recordings syndrome that they suffer. Dave Navarro gave them some gold to mold, and they did it right. Go for it. 5 out of 5 stars.
Go for it. I'm gonna start signing all emails. Go for it.
You should. Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. Because you can't get in trouble for being positive, but everybody's gonna hate me.
Yes.
Go for it, Garrett. Well, if you get a reply from me in the old email, folks, it's going to say go for it.
Yeah, but don't worry, because I'm not going to do that, and I reply to most of them.
That's true. All right, Tim, great reviews. Better than usual. Let me ask, who is this for?
This was for me as a youngster. It's for Red Hot Chili Pepper completists.
Yeah, that covers most of it. It was for everybody who really enjoyed Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And then didn't. God, they pulled the rug right out from under you on this one.
You can hear them trying to recreate Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and it sounds like they never understood why people liked that album to begin with.
I think you just got Navarro and heroin.
Yeah, that may be. Fair enough. You were right.
You guys want to go see a movie? Yeah, sure. Oh, hey, I'm going to bring heroin and Dave Navarro. I'm out.
Yeah. First reel in, then reel out.
Interesting. You guys want to go see the new Aladdin? I'm bringing heroin. Ooh,
yes.
This is going to be a weird night. Nope. Dave Navarro. Okay. So you either get both or you get none.
Is Dave Navarro in the new Aladdin? Write in, because we'll never see it.
Right. He looks like Jafar.
Is he in the new Lion King? Because he also looks like Scar, as you've made quite clear.
Yeah, and I've never even seen that. I had to Google that.
You've never seen The Lion King?
How would I have?
Garrett, we are going to have a great night. As we fall asleep tonight, it will be to the closing credits of Aladdin. No, of Lion King.
God, I have to get a new house.
Nah.
Go back to my other house that I pay for.
Garrett,
Tim, let me go home.
Garrett, foster the artistic merit of this show. We stay here in the house together, Just, no, you know what? You're not going home. You're here.
All right, that's fine.
Your name's on the lease. If you leave, technically I can't stay here, and I have nowhere else to go.
Can I move the couch bed?
Wait, you want to move it closer to my couch bed?
Further.
Oh, no. You may not.
Out of arm's range would be
No,
ideal.
I like to be able to touch your face while you're asleep without getting up.
Good God. I'm sleeping face down. Yeah, you know what? Never mind.
I can slide my hand under that face.
You and I are having the boundaries talk again after this. Oh my God. Tim, final thoughts. What have we not said about this band?
Is it embarrassingly bad? Because I feel like there's just enough that you're just like, okay, that's a Red Hot Chili Peppers album. It doesn't go so wildly off the rails that it's inexcusable, but then I hear some of the songs and I think maybe it is.
Let me answer you with this. Almost all of the songs on this album are never played live. This is embarrassingly bad by their own standards.
Okay.
I will enjoy the Red Hot Chili Peppers less having heard this album.
Yeah, and you can't go to their show anymore because there's always a fear that a non-P song will come out.
I am...
In love with P.
No, what? Ugh. I would be so happy if they played One Big Mob or possibly Falling Into Grace. If you and I could sing along to Falling Into Grace in a silent audience, because nobody knows that song, as we proceed to tell everyone about Guru Moo. So, Tim, I must ask, do you hate this album?
I do, and like you said, I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers less. I'm halfway to hate on the whole band after this experience. They're a scourge upon humanity.
Nope,
they're just spreading herpes, Garrett.
I feel like Anthony Kiedis did something to you.
Do you still hate this album, Garrett?
Yes. Still hate it, Tim. Hate it more. Boy, I bought a lot of garbage in this period. All right, Tim. You hate it. I hate it. America didn't much care for it either. And I think Anthony Kiedis really fucking hates it too. So, you know what? I might be a little back on board with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that brings us to the part of the show where we have to ask, folks, please write in. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Let us know funny stories about these songs, these albums, your own theories. Maybe we missed something. You can do that by going to HatePod.com and clicking on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner, or you can just hit us up directly at HatePodMail@gmail.com. Don't feel like being so long-winded? You can contact us on Twitter at AlbumHatePod, or go directly to the gram at HatePod. You can also go to Facebook.com/HatePod, and if all of that doesn't do it for you, you can find us on YouTube under Why I Hate This Album. I don't remember what the URL is. You'll have to find it. Rate, review, subscribe. It's all we ask. It's all we can ask. We love the reviews. We include the reviews in the prepisodes. Get a really funny one in there. Feel free to update them. We've got Soul Suckers. We've got Tim Suckers. We've got every manner of ghoul and ghost joke that we have yet to see pop up in the reviews. Yeah. So please rate, review, subscribe. It makes a big difference.
If you are the burger fan, please write in. I have to know.
Yeah, the burger review is amazing, so thank you. But listen, don't put yourselves out. If you want to print 1,000 leaflets and release them from a 25-story building across your city, assuming that's legal, do that. But, you know, nothing crazy. If you want to cold call random phone numbers in your local area and just promote our show generally, do that. Again, assuming that's legal. I think it is, because I get calls all the time.
Well, you can get one of those auto dialers.
No, you do it personally. We do it for you. Do you have a business? A dentist, perhaps? Maybe you need us to call up some people. Hey, get your teeth fixed. We'll do that for you. So just promote the show, okay? I'm sorry, I'm getting defensive. The point is, we really appreciate it, folks. The show keeps growing and it makes it better and more people learn about it, which makes us work harder. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Tim Richardson.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.